What is going on, YouTube? Welcome on the lifeboat. This is Captain Calhoun speaking. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Shannon Trim, thank you so much for your support. What a wonderful thing to sit down to. I tell you what. Hell yeah. Good morning. Good morning. Cindy G, James Collins, Laura. Hello, hello. It's going to be a great day. I can feel it in the air. Linda Bennett, good morning. James Collins is getting a plasma orb tattooed on him. That's pretty neat. I wonder what it's going to look like. Kristen Melinda, hello, hello. Well, heck yeah, guys. Good morning. We're a little bit late today, but we're going to get it nonetheless. Jeremy Fowler, what's going on? Yeah, guys, we're going to do a boater request today, which is finding communities in real life. How do I find a community around me, right? How do I find a community that's for me? How do I find a community that I fit in with, right? The one I'm looking for. Well, we're going to break it down as much as we possibly can. But I think that um, the overarching answer, right? The umbrella is you start small, right? We're going to do baby steps here. But there's a lot of different communities. There are a lot of resources to find communities. And I feel like I came across the motherlode, but then I was looking through the resources and it wasn't as organized as it appeared to be. But I do have an almost endless list of communities all over the country. And I imagine there are website resources for other countries as well. I'm looking at makerssspacedirectory.com, and directory is shortened to dir. I'll show you and I'll put the resources up and everything, but let's, again, baby step right into it, right? Good morning, my other's keeper. Hello, hello. It's been a while. How are you? Flick Fox. Heck yeah, guys. I'm back on the Cafe Bustelo as well. I'm on the gnarly espresso coffee, but it does wake a guy up. It really does. I tell you what. They sold it to me by the brick, which I thought was kind of funny. So there are many ways to find a community to get involved with, depending on your interests, your goals, right, and preferred activities. And let's talk about some of the different ways to help you connect with like-minded people, right? So I think the heart of this is definitely going to be, what are your passions, right? What are your goals? What are your preferred activities? What kind of stuff do you want to get together and do, right? Or even, it doesn't even have to be action, right? I was talking to my dad. Well, his best friend, and well, I don't. It's kind of hard to say that now, but his best friend growing up, I mean, I'm sure they're great friends, right? It's hard to judge the quality of one's friendship, right? So the words best and all that don't really have a place here. But my dad's got a buddy that he's had since high school or since college, something to that effect. And his buddy walked out of a third-story window under the influence of acid, and he's in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. He cannot walk. We were talking about like, dude, when you and Lurch get together, what do you guys do, right? That because y'all are community, you and your really good friend, that's community, right? It's not a bunch of people, right? But it is an example of community in an extreme way, because they can't go on a hike, right? They can't go to the gym. That's not things that my dad and Lurch are going to go do. But they can have amazing conversations, right? They can go see a movie. They can hang out and spend family time, quality time, right? There's all kinds of stuff, and that was what I wanted to ask him about, right? Because I don't know, yeah, it just seemed like a unique situation that I might be able to use to our benefit, right? So on this list, we have all kinds of different stuff, but it really is going to come down to, like, what are you into? And it doesn't have to be things that require action, right? We can get together and read books. We can get together and just talk about things. We could even just get on the phone and talk about stuff. So while we're going through different ways to find community and whatnot, just keep that in mind, right? You don't have to, like, some of these examples are going to be like gym and fitness studio, or like a running or hiking club, right? Which is good for some people, but don't be discouraged. There are a billion different ways to get together and connect. That's what community is all about, right? Connection. Okay, now that I got all that out of my mouth, Annika, what's going on? The Arabian Bard, Diane Reese, hello, hello. Did I see Anna? Did not. She'll show up. I know she will. I know she will. And it also might be Anna. I don't really know if I'm pronouncing it right, but we'll ask her when she gets here. What's going on, guys? Almost noon here, and I just woke up, says Annika. Well, heck yeah. I wish I had slept in. Turtle Dove Jackson, what's going on? How you doing? Oh my, looking like a snack, huh? Looking like a snack. I do love snacks. Some of my favorites. Some of my favorites. Um, all right then. Let's get into it. So, hobbies and interests. We'll start here. What kind of things are you into, right? You can look for clubs or groups that are centered around activities that you're into, like photography, gaming, hiking, book clubs, art, right? Websites like Meetup, Facebook groups, like this, what we're doing here, right? Local community. There's all kinds of different ways to go about this, right? Wharton Fissel, Jane Aldrich, what's going on? Linus Lou, thank you for those kind words. Sorry, I'm getting lost on a tangent, guys. I'm still learning some things about this whole streaming thing, and when I receive the curveballs from the world, from the universe, sometimes I'm more adept at bobbing and weaving. So I just need to. Sometimes I take a second just to make sure that I'm making the right moves, right? Because that's how I'm keeping myself accountable. And I'll even let you, and I'll let you know what I'm doing in my head right now. That person that said I look like a snack seemed to be real nice, and I clicked on their stuff, and their account was created today. So I was like, I guess I'm gonna ban you because you know what's coming next. It's something else. So, but I just went when I took a second to stop. I went back to double check and just make sure, right? Because maybe I act too quickly or something, but it doesn't really matter. Okay. Anyways, workshops and classes. We can join classes, right? Like, for example, my grandma was looking for community after she quit teaching because she's getting a little old. And she took some watercolor classes, and now she's a watercolor painting machine. All of our Christmas cards in the family are now handmade by grandma, and she loves it. She's getting real, real good at watercolors. I tell you what. So yeah, maybe there's a workshop or a class around you, right? Maybe you can go take a guitar class, right, or a cooking class, right? Get involved in like your local sports or something. Spanks, could you give Corinne a shout out? She's a boater and is driving me to my appointment. Absolutely. Well, heck yeah, Corinne. Thank you so much for driving Mr. JCC, our resident BA. Badass. Thanks for driving our friend out to get his plasma orb inked up. Pretty pretty stoked to see what it looks like. I tell you what. And also, Corinne, I don't believe I've ever met you, so hello there. Nice to say some words to you. NFL moments, what's going on? Welcome in. Yeah, drive safe, y'all. Maker spaces. This is one of the most exciting things I looked into this morning. Right, these are creative hubs. You can collaborate on do-it-yourself projects, techs, or crafts. Shout out to Matrix Rabbit this morning. By the way, I found a website, and I'll type it in here. And again, I've only just started to take a cursory glance at this thing. So I'm sure there's more secrets for this website to reveal to me, but I'm just going to copy and paste. You could probably just type in makerspace dir, but this seems to have a bunch of different collectives, communities, makerspaces in a directory based on location. Now, I did type in Tucson for my location, and the first bunch were in my area, and then it started to give me stuff from like Bend, Oregon, and Pennsylvania, and bunch of different places. So the locator isn't exactly perfect, but I mean, there's Arizona Science Center for something something. There's just endless. It looks like endless resources. So if you are looking for something in your area, this might be helpful. It also might not, but it's worth a try, right? kind of check this thing out, see if there's any, if you want to get involved in some community or some art community, right? Some project community. This might be a good way to do so, or a crafting community, right? And if you do end up using this website and meeting a community and loving it, please let me know how it went. And also if the opposite happens, right? If you check it out and it just doesn't turn out how you wanted it, or whatever, right? Just let us know what happens. I would love to know. Scooby Lee. Cindy, if you find one that's for Canada, for other countries, for anything other than the USA, please share. I didn't do a ton of looking, right? But I figured there's definitely resources for other places, right? The internet's pretty powerful. Powerful. Just taking a second to gather my thoughts. Sick. Sick. Amazing. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. How you doing today, Scooby? The next thing I have written here is fitness and wellness communities. Gyms, fitness studios, yoga classes, Pilates, CrossFit, martial arts, cycling. These are all great for building connections, right? Little active community. I know when Lucy and I were together, after Lucy and I broke up, I should say, she got involved in a running club. In fact, I wear the shirt on here sometimes from that club. It's my teal running shirt. I haven't worn it in a while, so maybe you guys don't remember, but she joined a running club and seemed to really, really dig it. Um, Even wellness groups, right? This might be more in line for a lot of us here. Wellness groups such as meditation or mindfulness circles. Now that sounds a little hippy dippy, right? Either in person or online offer meaningful social connections, but I can definitely agree and relate with this. I wouldn't necessarily consider my fire tribe or my fire community a meditation or mindfulness circle, right? But we definitely get together and do stuff like that. We will get together and like stretch and do yoga and stuff together, or we'll get together and choreograph dance together, or we'll get together and like do some deep breathing, some meditation, all kinds of stuff. That community, I definitely do a lot of diverse things with, right? So I guess at the end of the day, it's not really the question really isn't what do we want to do, because we probably know what we want to do. And if we don't, it's just going to take a tiny little bit of digging and trial and error to find out what makes you happy, right? The real question is, how do we find these groups? How do we find these people? And I think websites are a great resource. I think talking to each other, right? Word of mouth is a great resource. I think also one of the first things to do is to identify, right, what you're into, and then identify someone else that's also into that, right? Okay, I'm into rock hounding. Well, James is into rock hounding. Why don't I hit James up and be like, hey, man, do you want to go rock hounding together? It's as simple as that, right? I mean, it can be as simple as that. Let's be real. It can be. It can be. It doesn't have to be. What's going on, Matrix? Wrap it. We were just talking about makers communities, man. And I shared a website that I found this morning called, where'd it go? It's just above here. Makerspacedir.com. And this is, I guess, just for USA, but I'm sure that there are other resources online and in other places where like this is basically a list of a bunch of community spaces for different purposes, and you can like search by your area and whatnot. So I thought that would be a very useful resource. Mr. Matrix, hope your headphones are sweet. I need to get some new headphones as well. I think I'm going to get the cheap $20 Walmart ones, but I can't play Tarkov without legit headphones. I've been using these Delta Airlines free headphones, and I can't tell what audio I'm hearing. Audio is such a big part of the game. I can't tell what the heck it is. But it's at least playable. At least I'm kind of like playing blind, but I need better headphones. And my Bluetooth doesn't work on my computer for some reason. I think it's because I built it myself and I missed something. So, anyways, I digress. Volunteering. This is a juxtaposition. This is another angle to come at this from. Local nonprofits, right? Let's find opportunities with organizations like food banks, animal shelters, environmental groups, or mentorship programs. Websites like, let's let's vet our sources. Hold on. Volunteermatch.org, huh? I want to go volunteer at the animal shelter real bad. As soon as I get my little scooter moving, that's where we're going to take it first thing. Maybe I'll find myself a dog friend, a doggo. Yeah. Okay. Volunteermatch.org. I stand behind it. I had to check. If you're trying to find a place to volunteer and you need a little help looking for it, volunteermatch.org has your back. And there's an animal shelter like 15, 20 minutes from where I live. And if I could just get this little scooter moving, I'd be over there taking dogs for walks and doing all kinds of fun stuff with animals. I think it'll be good for me. I look forward to it. Also, um, all right, yeah, so that website can help you discover causes to support. Also, if you are so inclined, religious or spiritual groups. Now, I know a lot of us aren't into that kind of thing, but a lot of us are, right? So, places of worship often have community outreach programs or volunteer work. In fact, if you are already a part of a community like this is a great place to go get involved because you're going to be surrounded by like-minded people right out the get-go, and you can work on wonderful things together. Personally, I don't find myself very religious, but I honestly wouldn't mind going to a religious or spiritual place to be a part of a community, right? I definitely wouldn't mind volunteering at, like, for example, the church that my family goes to. I think that would be fun. I don't think that I don't think that they would like be oppressive, right? I think they would be welcoming and nice and warm and nurturing, right? I don't think it would be anything any sort of conversion going on, right? So that's pretty neat. I wanted to bring that up as well. It occurred to me that that has been something that has helped me a lot in the past, right? I've gone and volunteered at the church, or like I was saying earlier, local nonprofits like the food bank, with mixed results on the food bank end. But religious and spiritual groups have always been good to me as far as um, I don't know, being involved in a community, right? Matrix Rabbit says, "What if you have serious health problems in relation to what, Matrix? In relation to these communities?" I was telling a story earlier about a conversation I had with my dad. He's got a friend that's in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. I'm sure you guys have heard that story. Lurch walked out of a third-story window on acid when they were in college. And he's in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. Now, when they get together, when my dad and Lurch get together, they don't go on hikes, right? They don't go to the gym. But when they get together, they have a great time. They have a great conversation. They share wonderful space. Maybe they'll watch a movie, right? They'll spend family time, right? There are being limited physically is just that, being physically limited, right? There are ways to go about moving through life, right, that are still going to fulfill you. And it's just an obstacle that if you are physically limited, it's an obstacle that you're going to have to work with, right? Because it's not going anywhere. So I can show you the doorways, but you're going to have to find a way to walk through them, unfortunately. A guy got hit by a train. My brother watched a guy get cut in half by a train. My brother used to train hop, and not my blood brother, but someone that I was very close with once upon a time has told me train hopping stories that will give you nightmares. Bisected, I believe, is what they call that in the intelligent community. Made into two pieces. All right. Anyways, community gardens, right? Help cultivate a local garden or join a cooperative sustainability project. Doesn't sound too bad, huh? Doesn't sound too bad. I wonder if there's a community garden near me. That sounds great. Then I would get some good produce while I'm at it, you know? Jeremy says shore stationary fishing. Matrix, 2 poles per person along the edge for however long you want. Interesting. That does sound like a lot of fun. I tell you what. Also, I know really extreme cold isn't good for like bad muscles and joints and whatnot, but ice fishing is pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. It seems boring and miserable when you like look at it from the outside, but you go and do it with the proper materials, conditions, and equipment, and with like a buddy. Oh my, have a blast ice fishing. The auger is the coolest part, I think, for sure. Maybe that's just the risky in me. I also I saw a guy kneel down, and I don't know if I should tell that story. I saw a guy unalive himself by train. He like parked his bike all nice and neat on the sidewalk. He was like a local homeless guy in Fort Collins when I lived there, and he like parked his bike all nice and neat on the sidewalk and like walked casually over to the train tracks and laid his head down on it, and the train hit him. Pretty wild. Some wild stuff, I have to say. Um, I don't know where that memory came from. Also, when I lived in Fort Collins, I knew a guy who had "Hobo Life" tattooed on his face, and it was like a little locomotive, and it said "Hobo Life" on the side of it. It was an interesting guy. It's an interesting guy. Shared life experiences. Well, hold on. Did I miss something? Professional networking. Oh, yeah, let's talk about this. Industry events. All right, you can attend conferences, seminars, or networking meetups specific to your profession or career goals, right? So if your company talks about a seminar coming up, or usually when I hear those words at a corporate thing, I'm like, not something I'm into. But honestly, maybe I am, right? Because I'm working with a bunch of people at this company. We're all doing kind of similar things. If the company is talking about a seminar, it probably has to do with something that I deal with on a daily basis, right? With my work. So maybe going to one of these conferences or one of these job seminars is a good idea, right? Maybe I'll meet some like-minded people. Maybe I'll meet some people that'll blow my mind. Maybe I'll blow some people's minds in return. Who knows? Co working spaces. Shared office spaces often host events, workshops, and socials to help professionals connect. This is the same concept as the maker spaces, except it's a co-working space, right? Instead of being a passion, it's more of a profession, right? But it's the same idea, right? We've got a space that's equipped for a certain activity or a certain profession, right? And we can all kind of get together and do it together, or talk about it, theory craft, whatever the case. Jojo M, what's going on? Short-term volunteer at church, helping with decorating and undecorating for holiday activities. Includes moving tables, climbing ladders, carrying heavy boxes, etc. Yes, it does. I have done this a number of times. All community building activities, right? But for those that are physically limited, again, there are other things that we can do, right? You can probably still help out in this environment, right? You're just not going to be able to do all of these things, all of these moving tables and climbing ladders and boxes, but there's plenty of stuff for everyone to do. And one of the reasons I think a community such as a spiritual community or a church is a good bet, because those people have love in their hearts already, right? Or they should. I guess I can't speak for every churchgoer, right? There are definitely some more judgmental, interesting types out there, but for the most part, in my experience, religious types have love in their heart, right? That's the whole. Most religions are based upon love, or they try to be, right? I think that's one of the reasons I think those communities are especially good for this kind of thing, because they're not, if you are limited in some way, shape, or form, they're more likely to make space for you than to tell you to take a hike. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of people that we want in our community, the kind of people that have love in their heart, right? Caitlin, what's going on? What's going on, Mocked? Trying something out is the only way to find out what works for you. That's right. That's right. That's right. Paula Pentley, hello. Sharona. Emma Fenn, working with kids in addiction here in the UK, giving something back after years in addiction myself. I love this. I tell you what, it takes someone special to work with addicts, and it takes someone special to work with kids. I tell you what, working with kids in addiction, you must be a special person, Emma. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for what you do. Christy Anise is happy with the lifeboat. Well, the lifeboat's happy with you, Christy. I'm so glad that you feel that way. And maybe the lifeboat is a stepping stone to an in-person community. Maybe the lifeboat becomes an in-person community over time, right? Who knows? But there's never it's never too late, right? There's no time like the present. And we can always change our minds. We can always divert our course, right? Just take the leap, try something, right? Go meet some people. And if coming here and meeting us is all you're going to do today, that's absolutely fine. You know? Bum, bum, bum. Back to networking. LinkedIn groups. I don't know why, but I don't like that website. So I'm going to skip this entire section. Shared life experiences, support groups, kind of like this. Join communities that focus on shared experiences like mental health support, addiction recovery, parenting groups, grief support, right? You're kind of already doing that, even though we're doing this digitally, right? But that's pretty much all we do here is all of those things. Tony, what's going on? Welcome in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Parenting groups, that seems interesting. Parenting or family groups. Local schools, daycares, or play groups are great for parents to meet others with similar schedules or experiences, right? I was trying to rack my brain to think of all the possible different situations people could be in looking for community. And if you're a parent or a new parent, right, or a young new parent, I think all of those things together, you might be wondering, like, how am I ever going to have fun again, right? Like, what about my community and my friends? Well, maybe we build a new community, other new young parents, right, that have kids, so our kids can have friends and forge relationships and communities, as well as the parents, right, us, we can forge relationships and build communities with the other parents. I think that this is a wonderful idea. It's something that I have zero experience with because I'm not a parent, but let me know your experiences with other parents, right? And making friends and communities with other parenting individuals. Let me know if you have experience with that. How if you have any stories to share from stuff like that. MFN says we have a real problem with kids using Xanax here and experimenting with fentanyl. Ugh. Yeah, that is terrifying. Where are you at, Emma? Generally, don't give me your exact location. We are on the internet, but I would like to know just generally what area we're talking about with the Xanax and the Fenty. I was talking to so for some reason, I was talking to a couple of my buddies that didn't really know each other but knew of each other. I'm kind of like the social butterfly that brings us all together. Brighton and UK. All right, interesting. Come back to that in just a second before I lose my train of thought. And it was kind of funny. It was brought up. It was a joke because as these two were like kind of being pleasant and getting to know each other, we became aware that both of them are heroin addicts or ex-heroin addicts. And I thought, oh, of course, And Jake said to me, he was like, dude, you're only friends with heroin addicts, and he's so right. Most of my closest friends are dope heads, and I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because of my childhood experience with my parents, but most of my friends are ex opiate addicts. Why did I bring this up? We were talking about Xanax and fentanyl. That's right. I was talking to my buddies, and one of them said to me, kind of confessed a little bit to some relapse activity and some some interesting recent experiences. They're doing well now, right? As well as they can be doing. But in the time that we've been apart, a lot has happened for them. And they were sharing their experience with fentanyl with me. And it was very eye opening and mind blowing to me. And the similarities between us are are wild. I'm not, I've never done fentanyl, right? But it was a little bit scary to hear his perspective. He was basically telling me like if it wasn't gonna land him in jail, he would still be doing it, is what he told me. He said, "I think I'm way functional on Fent," is what he was saying. He, this, that, and the other, and I should let him speak for himself. Maybe I'll interview him, but um, that perspective that he was sharing with me was terrifying to me. Because if I had that outlook on crack, I wouldn't be sober. You know what I mean? Is freedom that important to me? I mean, crack kind of became the most important thing. I don't understand how I don't understand the mindset that he has, and maybe it's not for me to understand. But it was a very scary thing. Fentanyl is scary to me. He was telling me it's easier to kick than heroin, and I was like, I don't know about that, dude. And plus, I mean, any kind of street drugs these days, you're rolling the dice, aren't you? Aren't you just like hoping you're not going to get that xylazine cut that's going to be your last day? What was that? Triple fives. Let's go. I'm a winner. Crack brought me to my knees as well, Emma, and this is why you see me before you now. Because I couldn't do that stuff anymore. I was going to die. It was going to kill me, and I wanted to live. Jeremy says, I find commingling with other families with small children stressful, but I'm also wicked protective. Lol. I can see that. I could definitely, like, if I put myself in your shoes, I could totally see that happening to me as well. Um, Maybe that's a part of the growth. And I mean, also, when I'm thinking about young kids, they're mean to each other, dude. They're so mean. I remember when I was a kid, I was always on the cusp of getting in a fight because some other little kid was running his mouth in a way I didn't like, and I wasn't afraid to put my fist in his mouth, as a little kid. So I had a really interesting childhood, in from that perspective for sure. But kids are so mean to each other. I don't know why that is. Christy Anise says, I'm single and you get excluded. No children, etc. Think we can silo ourselves. Sometimes nice to expand safely. Different people, different interests. Stay safe. Lead with kindness. Yeah, I definitely feel like I'm 32. I'll be 33 in February. I definitely feel like a large portion of my peers are having children, and I'm not having children. Right? Not right this second. Um, Not that I don't want them, but it definitely creates a rift, and some of it's in my head. Right? Some of it's my judgment. Like, what are we going to do? Hang out with your kids? Which is a terrible thought to have, honestly. Just confession time. Like, what a terrible thought for me to have, right? What a judgmental jerk. And some of these friends of mine that have kids now are some of my closest friends. And I really do miss spending the time that we spent together, but we probably won't end up spending a ton of that kind of time, right? If we're going to continue to have friendship and relationship, we most likely are going to have to redefine the boundaries of said relationship, right? Or most definitely, if we're going to be hanging out, be spending the time doing different things, right? For example, part of my fire tribe, Takea and Isaiah both had a kid towards the end of Breath of Fire, and it was a surprise to the whole squad, but we love them, we support them, but it 100% changed the way that like we all interact with each other now. Like they stay in contact, everyone stays in contact. Um, but when we see Takea and Isaiah, it's different. It's under different circumstances, right? We're not going on tour. We're not going out into the desert and like, partying naked. We're not doing any like fire super hot fire events. Like we're not doing any stuff like that. When we get together, it's wholesome family stuff. Like maybe we're going to get together, read books or do art or play music, right? We're still going to get together and do what we do, but it's definitely going to be under different circumstances within different boundaries, right? Kids will definitely change the game, but it doesn't have to be the death of fun. It doesn't have to be the end of this wild journey. It can be the beginning of the wildest journey you've ever been on, right? So don't lose hope. Don't be discouraged. You know what I mean? The world will shift around us. Our circles will shift. The circle gets smaller. Everybody can't go, right? Jeremy, one day, some beautiful, kind, sweet as pie uh, person's going to walk right into your life and be looking exactly for you and your little man. But don't wait around or whatever. But it's happening. It's coming. They tell me the same thing. So let's just be patient as we can, huh? My dad says that kind of stuff to me all the time. I'm like, I hope so, Dad. I hope so. Have fun at your appointment, James. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning. Hmm. Pretty sure I'm listening to a sump pump outside. If you don't know what that is, it's a pump that will pump water out of a space. We used to use them in I was talking about doing that industrial electrical work yesterday. We would use a pump to, like, if we had dug a hole or if we had uncovered a bunch of pipes or whatnot and it was like flooded, but I needed to do work in there, we would use the pump to pump the water out so that we could get in there and do what we needed to do dry. But don't tell me why it sounds like that, but I swear that motor is a water pump. I swear it is. I want to go look, but we're doing this right now. We're doing this. Get him, Robin. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Cultural organizations. Look for groups centered around shared heritage, language, or cultural events, which I think is very interesting. I'm fascinated by different cultures and traditions. And I don't even know what my culture and traditions are, right? The heck is my heritage? We're such a mixed up family. When I say mixed up, I mean I'm a mutt, right? I've got English, I've got this, I've got that. My last name is Hungarian. How the heck did we get that? I guess that's Eastern, or that's like Eastern European, right? So I guess that kind of makes sense. Either way, I don't really know what my heritage language or cultural events are, right? So maybe getting involved with such would be a cool, interesting experience, right? I'd most likely meet like minded people if they share my heritage, huh? It doesn't sound like a bad plan. And then we have a little small section about online communities. You know about the boat, Facebook. You know about YouTube, Discord. There's also platforms like Reddit. For your more smutty stuff. Online forums, Quora, Medium, niche forums offer spaces to engage in meaningful discussions. I actually get emails from Quora that just give me silly stuff to look at. I don't know about Community, but you might be able to find like-minded people on there looking at silly things. Virtual events, attend online workshops, book clubs, or hobby events hosted via Zoom or platforms like Eventbrite. This being said, we can probably. I'm going to re-say that. We have the ability to do this on Zoom and or Discord as a lifeboat crew. So if you guys want, and I'm sure that some of you do, we can like schedule a meetup. And I don't know what kind of regularity, but we can schedule a meetup and we can all either get on Zoom or all get on Eventbrite. Pardon me, not Eventbrite. We can all get on Zoom or Discord, losing it, and kind of hang out and do whatever, right? We can turn our cameras on, turn our mics on, and just kind of like hang out and talk and catch up and just like exist, right? Build community. So that's something that we have the ability to do. We have used Zoom in the past to do the call-in shows, but we can also use it like a chat room. We can use it for a lot of things, I guess. And we talked a little bit about taking classes earlier, like watercolor classes, like my grandma took. We can enroll in like educational classes, like a community college class, right? An online platform, and learn new skills. And in doing so, most likely bump into people that are learning the same thing, right? So then we found someone with a common interest. Ipso facto, we're building community. Christiane says, Spanx, no way, you don't know your heritage, so your dad, Admiral, and Uncle Johnny don't share. So my dad's actually my stepdad. I have a an Ancestry.com kit. I just haven't used it yet. Maybe I'll do that today before I eat. I just got to take it to the mailbox. That reminds me, update on mail at my homestead. I received this sorry we missed you, you were out thing in my mailbox, and it's listed as USPS, wait, about the missed delivery. It was a USPS Smart Parcel Locker eligible. So basically it was a parcel smaller than a certain size. And it's a very confusing notice. It says first attempt. I did what it said to try and schedule a redelivery. So what it says on here is that my package was small, but it wasn't small enough. It wouldn't fit in my box. So it says we have these we have items for which we could not deliver because receptacle full / item oversized. The receptacle was empty, so it was too big. And it says do this to schedule a redelivery. I went ahead and did so, and it says it's already scheduled for redelivery. And I'm thinking to myself, what are you going to try and shove it in the same hole again? What the heck? And this whole time I'm getting frustrated because like it's got my address on here, right? Like my door has the number on it, but they're trying to shove it in my mailbox, which is like, I don't know, 50 feet from here. Like just bring it to my door. What the heck? So I'm going to have to literally eviscerate the mailman, or maybe just exchange some words with him and come to an understanding, and kind of maybe he can explain to me why I can't receive mail here, right? Because it's becoming, just want to Homer Simpson him, you know, or her. I don't care. Just want to kind of, I do care. I'm not going to hurt anybody, but what the heck? It's so frustrating. So frustrating. I mean, so check this out. I did, when I calm down, right, and I just kind of look at it realistically. If there's not in the best lighting conditions, in the best weather conditions, it's clear, it's bright. It's really hard to read the numbers from unless you're like we're right in front of it. So if I'm standing, I'm on the second floor. If I'm standing in the center on the ground floor, I can't read the numbers on either side of me. Like I literally have to walk up to the doors and like be weird. So I think the place that I'm living is really the issue, right? The numbers are the numbers are tiny. They're not big. It's confusing. It's laid out like a maze. The building numbers are hidden. They're like behind trees that aren't trimmed, and like it's just a little bit of a crap show over here. So when I calm down and I look at it, you know, through my real eyes, right? Not my seeing red glasses, but I look at it through my regular eyes. It makes a lot of sense why they don't deliver properly. The system is stacked against them, but I tell you what, it's frustrating. In Robin Miners, this is exactly my plan. I'm going to call them today and be like, hey, I got this thing. Can you just hold it for me, please? I'll come get it. Quit trying to deliver it because you guys suck at it. We found chosen family over tea and cheesecake. We moved to their house for them. You just got to be open to connection, and suddenly your tea and book time finds you family. Ooh-wee. I love this so much, Mocked. What a beautiful success story of finding friends. Here's tea. What's going on? On this note, Postal can make you go loco. Does anyone else receive text messages now and again that say your package is being held for something something, and it like claims to be the post office, but the post office doesn't text my phone, right? That's a spam text, right? Does anyone else receive those? I know damn well I don't have anything coming in through customs. And I know damn well if it did come in through customs, they wouldn't have my phone number. You know what I mean? It's very interesting. It's a federal offense to mess with, to impersonate USPS. They must be nerds of some sort, right? Running multiple IP addresses through blah blah blah, right? They're probably pretty good at what they do. Otherwise, they wouldn't get very far. I don't think. Trainee human, what's going on? Wow, literally everybody in this chat room has gotten these. That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, my info is readily available, 100%. Even if the address is correct, no guarantee you will get mail. I mean, that seems to be what's happening to me for sure. For sure. All right, all right, all right. Let's get back to this. I think we're almost through it. Ooh, there's actually a ton more. We might have to do. I don't want to do a part two of this because it'll be like a half an episode. So maybe if you're learning a new language, look for conversation clubs. What? Or exchange events like Tandem or Hello Talk. That's really cool. So I don't know if anyone in here is learning a new language, but if you're about to learn French and then venture off into Ontario, maybe join one of these conversation clubs. That sounds way cool. I would love to do that. Maybe I'll have to start learning a language. Finally, one of my lifelong dreams is to learn to speak another language fluently. I was going to say fluidly. Crush it. What's going on, dude? Dude, I've been slacking on the gym so much. When I see you, it reminds me to get off my butt and go get it. I'm gonna need to do a pretty heavy chest day today if I'm gonna be okay. Civic engagement, neighborhood associations, activism, advocacy group, political activism, equality, environmental justice, social issues. There are a million things to get behind, right? There are a million causes to support. And there are a million people supporting a million causes. You know what I mean? So it's just up to us to find them, to go ahead and locate them. Local libraries often host community programs, lectures, and classes. I didn't realize this. Maybe I should go check out the local library. Arts and entertainment, theater and music groups. This is probably right up my alley. Community theaters, choirs, bands welcome people of all experience levels. Art co ops or studios. These spaces let you collaborate on creative projects and meet fellow artists. I think that this is probably my favorite thing on the whole list here. Um, like an art co-op, man, we could just all kind of, which is the place that I keep not going on Thursday afternoons for Flow Jam is an art co-op. So I don't know. Maybe I'm afraid of success. Maybe I'm afraid of meeting people that all love. Film clubs. Find local movie meetups or clubs that explore niche genres. One of my favorite things to do is to read a book or watch a movie and then dissect it critically with some, intelligent dissecting friends. In my senior year, I took a class called Critical Studies in Film. And I took it because I couldn't find anything better that would give me the credit that I needed. And little did I know that I would love that class so much. I took a bunch of classes that senior year that I wasn't expecting to really enjoy, but were lovely. Like creative writing was a great class. Critical studies in film, but yeah, critical studies in film. We would like analyze films. We learned about like the history of filmmaking in different eras. And I remember we all had to do a project on a director. Everybody wanted to do Tim Burton. So I just went ahead and did Rob Zombie because, I don't need to fight you guys for Tim Burton when Rob Zombie directed, two or three wonderful films. Wonderful slashers. For those that don't know, Rob Zombie directed House of a Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects, and I'm not sure of the other ones, if there are more or not. But he definitely made some sweet slasher flicks. Polka Polka. Started learning American Sign Language together. There's a deaf kid in her kindergarten class, so I want to finally learn and help her be able to talk to him. That's awesome. That's way cool. One of the most useful languages I feel like you could learn, right? Because not only like in a situation where someone can't hear, that's going to be useful, but in a situation where it's just loud and we can't hear each other, right? Maybe we have the ability to hear, but maybe I want to speak to you with my hands. I think that's one of the coolest things. We have a language with our fingers. I think that's way cool. I would love to learn this. Rob Zombie has a very, very extensive background in B horror films, says Jeremy Fowler. Oh, a fellow aficionado, I see. Now, we're not talking Sharknado, right? We're talking B horror. Maybe I'll have to do a double down deep dive on some Robbo Zombo. Robbo Zombo. All right, I'm kind of cutting into my pop's time a little bit. So these last couple sections, pets and animals, right? I talked about like going and hanging out at the volunteering at the dog place, the shelter, the animal shelter, right? Or you could join like a dog walking group. There are apps on your phone for dog walking groups and pet meetups, volunteer programs at shelters, right? You can connect with some animals and some animal loving people, right? Wildlife groups participate in local bird watching clubs or conservation initiatives. Wow, I wonder if we have some bird watching clubs out here. I've seen some very interesting birds since I've lived in Arizona. Other restrained, yo, how you doing, man? Mocked says, I saw a TED Talk thing about how versatile and expressive ASL is. I definitely, in my small interactions with people that can speak ASL, that's so funny. I definitely always got the impression that like how you're going about signing is just as important as the sign that you're making, right? The body language that's coming along with it, right? You can feel it. So I definitely have gotten this impression that it's very versatile and expressive. A class gore, Z class acting. That definitely sounds like Rob Zombie to me. Technology and gaming communities, hackathons, coding workshops, developer groups. These are way above my pay grade, but I bet you Jake would be into something like this because he's really. I'm not a slouch, but he's really, really smart when it comes to this kind of thing. In fact, this is the kind of stuff that lights his fire, right? Coding and like building with my hands a device that can do all of these things. Like he's a if Jake was like a fantasy class, he would be an engineer or like a tinker. He'd be like the goblin tinker. He'd be in the back building a factory that will build more things for him, you know? Speaking of gaming groups, I'm going to be myself getting involved with some Dungeons and Dragons community. I talk a lot about how I don't have community, right? Outside of the lifeboat. Like I've got my family out here and I don't really have friends, right? Like I do, but I don't hang out with them. I choose not to because it's not what I want to be doing right now. But I will say I'm going to be getting involved with some Dungeons and Dragons. I think my cousin started moving back yesterday, if my memory serves. I should hit him up today and see how it's going. He's probably on the road with his family. Shout out to David. I love you, bro. Hope everything's moving smooth. Shout out to Siler and Nicole. I was gonna forget your name, but I won't forget your name. I promise. It's funny. We have so many Nicoles in our family, and I'm like about to forget David's wife's name, and it's Nicole. Anyways, that being said, saying all my family's names, I'm going to be getting involved with some D&D with them. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I've decided as well for my nerds out there, I'm going to be playing a shadow monk. I'm going to make a shinobi. When he runs, he's going to run like Naruto. When he uses his things, he's going to say the corny Naruto stuff, shadow style. He's going to do silly things. It's going to be great. I'm very excited. I haven't decided anything else. I just decided my class, right? I got to go in and do race and backstory and all of this stuff. We're going to be doing 5e. We're going to be doing 5e, I believe, and I don't have any information on the campaign we're going to be running or any of that. From what I understand, my cousin's best friend um, DMs or whatever. So like, and I don't know them, right? I'm guilty by association because my cousin, right? I'm being invited through him. So when I meet everyone, I'll be able to tell you guys more about our campaign. Until then, I'm just going to have to share with you how I'm building my character out. Which for right now, we just know that he's a shadow monk. He's going to be a shadow monk. And that's all we know. That's all we know. I was gonna do a Beastmaster Hunter because friends with bears is always cool. Have like a grizzly bear homie, and maybe I can talk to it too. Right? There's a lot of different ways you can go with that. It will be way fun. But maybe I'll save that for later. I'm really, really looking forward to playing a monk for the first time. Something a little more out of the box, a little more controversial. But yeah, not to be discounted, you can find maybe a tabletop gaming community near you. I've noticed that when I was into Magic the Gathering or any of these tabletop games, there are shops in town. For example, there's a Games Workshop shop where the Warhammer people congregate. There's an MTG store on every friggin' corner, right? I mean, it's not every corner, but there's a lot of Magic the Gathering stores or playing trading card stores, right? Generally, those are places where people that are into that kind of thing will congregate and play, right? So if you're into something like that, maybe go check out the local store, see if you can meet some friends, right? Bring your deck, bring your whatever, your figures, or just bring yourself and a heart full of love and see what happens, man. But in conclusion, we want to start small, ask around, use the resources at hand, right? Whether it be an app or a website or word of mouth from our friends. Like, let's be open to new interests and let's find a community that we're going to be happy in, right? Let's find a community that makes us better. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, huh? This is something I'm not familiar with. What's advanced D&D, Christy? I could Google it, I bet. Is the 14th episode of the second season of the American comedy television series Community. Okay, I don't think that's what we want. Wait, maybe it is what we want. Getting confused in the morning with my friends. Getting confused with my friends in the morning. I'm in a Tolkien Discord server, and it helped me complete the final quest of becoming a German baking nerd. Making sourdough starter. Let's go! Tara would be so stoked. Tara would be way stoked. Shout out to Tara. I hope you're doing well today. If you're out there hearing my voice, and if you're not, I also wish you well. Wish you very well. Kellyanne, happy tremendous Tuesday. Oh, wow, I like that. Tremendous Tuesday. All right, guys, that's pretty much what I've got for you today. I've gone a little bit longer than I intended to, but it was time well spent. Um, Matrix says I'm going to start sharpening my bass skills. Going to be practicing every day. I need to figure out a time. I might put it on my channel. Hey, Mark. Well, if you do, let me know. I am going to be tightening up my guitar skills, and maybe the fabled Lifeboat family band can actually become a thing. Maybe we can slowly move into that place. I'm definitely not preparado currently, but if I sharpen my skills and I stick to it, I think maybe I could be. So I think that's way cool, dude. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same. And if I end up putting anything up, I'll let you guys know. All right, y'all. Annika says, so many good ideas here, man. Thank you. I hope it wasn't like an overwhelming, just like, blah, here's all the stuff. It kind of felt like that to me a little bit. Hopefully it was digestible. Um, yeah, it does seem to be great. Flick Fox says, my little bro who has learning difficulties has been wanting to make friends. He loves playing games, and I hadn't thought of taking him to the gaming store. Duh. Thanks for the suggestion, Spanx. Absolutely. And honestly, there's enough things going on at the game store. Even if you're not into games, you could be entertained, right? There's all kinds of artwork, right, on all the cards. And I don't know, there's just, it doesn't have to be boring for you either, right? Dude, I used to own a jaw harper too, and I don't know what happened to them. I bet you it was made of metal though, and it would probably hurt my teeth if I used it today, because my teeth are weak and falling out of my head. But we're working on it. I do love some wooden spoons, though. I think that if I were to pick up an instrument of this sort, I would probably choose the spoons or a washboard. I'll mess with some washboard for sure. Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. Helen Keller. Wow. All right, guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Keep fighting the good fight. You're doing a good job, all right? Make Tuesday great again. All right, that actually wasn't that cool. Much love, though. I'm Captain Calhoun. This has been The Lifeboat. I'm out of here.